We're not against rap. We're not against rappers. But we are against those.
Something big about to happen. I hear the beat tapping. We some fly rhyming felines rapping on the track. Better yet, grab a gat, cause we hot like Enzo. Doors closed, windows up, cause that's the way we like to ride. Windy City hitting. Check mic 1 2 1 2. We live, baby.
Yo, what's up, Chicago? And welcome back to Speak Your Mind Radio, episode 623. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Queen Star, aka MzHipHop. And today we have a dope guest in the house. He is a veteran MC from Queens, New York, okay? He is the cornerstone voice of groups like Mikey D and the LA Posse and Main Source, a name that carries real respect in the hip-hop community. And he's here to talk about his brand new album, Poppin' Kim, Legends Don't Die, and also how he helped build the music distribution company Pass the Torch. So without further ado, up next to the mic, the one and the only Mikey D. What's up?
You know what? Me and Big Vag is going to have to take you on tour with us because that intro right there was on point, and we need that every time we go on stage. So that's it. You're signed. You're rolling with us. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. It was all for you, brother.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I took it all in.
Yes, no doubt. Okay. Oh, God. Okay, so Mikey D, here at Speak Your Mind Radio, we start off each and every interview with an icebreaker question for all the artists. So let's get started.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Okay, so let me say this. I know what your name means. You know, it stands for Mikey Destruction, and there's real power behind that. But tell us, how did you actually get your name?
Well, the Mikey D was originally from, my first name is Michael. My last name is Deering, Deering. So Mikey, short for Michael, and then to shorten the Deering, I used the Dee, Mikey D. Eventually, I dropped the EEs off of the last name. And with the Destruction, that's because I was like, when I was younger, I was known for destroying anything in my path lyrically, microphones, MCs. I used to love to battle and all of that. So, and then when I drank 40s, I was even iller. So it was like, it was Destruction, So that was then when I was young. Now that I'm in my older adult years, the Destruction means it's like when they say build and destroy. You have to destroy the old to rebuild the new. So Mikey Destruction stands for I destroyed the old me. And now, where I am right now, this is the new me. So in order for me to reinvent myself and be new again, I had to destroy all of the old things that I was doing. So that's how now I'm still Mikey Destruction.
Oh, okay. That sounds tight. All right. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. It's in your music too, so.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mikey, take us back to your earlier days in Queens, New York, and, tell us how that environment helped shape you becoming a battle rapper.
Well, there's a lot of different people. I'm a combination of a few different people. Like Grandmaster Caz is the reason that I rap. Kumo D, he's the reason that I battle. Eddie OJ and Will Seville, these are my mentors. They were like the Cold Crush brothers to us in Queens, you know what I mean? So they were both very lyrical and aggressive with the rhymes. So me being a young MC, like I'm like 12, 13 when I first started, through my early teens, the environment was just like, hip hop was fresh to us. You know, even though it started in the Bronx, it came across the bridge and it came into Queens, you know. So I'm like a second generation Queens MC, you know, so it was still fresh to us and it was still really competitive. So like with my aggression comes from, I had a bully back in the days. People that went to PS 37 in Queens back in the days, they gonna know what I'm talking about. His name was Savon Edwards. Rest in peace, Sham God. But Sham God, he was a bully. You know what I'm saying? But if he took a liking to you, he took a liking to you. But the thing with Sham, Savon, he had this gift of gab. He wasn't a rapper, but he was gangster, to the point he didn't have to use his pistol. He could talk people out of their wallets and their gold chains by this verbal judo, as 40 Killer would call it. I was one of the lucky ones that he happened to take a liking to, you know what I mean? I used his personality in my aggression lyrically. I had to, your words had to be like a knife and they had to cut through people. So I learned that early, messing with Sham, learning from Eddie O.J. Will Seville, Grandmaster Caz, and Mo D. So, like I said, that's how that came about. And everybody in Queens at the time I was coming up, we were all competitive. Some of us took it serious. Some people were just playing around with it. I was one of them dudes. I took it very serious. I just wanted to be the nicest MC around the way. You know what I mean? So that's how that was.
That's dope. That is a dope story. So can you like kind of recall one of your first rhymes or your first battles, like, and set the scene for us?
Well, the first rhyme actually was when I heard Grandmaster Caz say a rhyme about a girl named Yvette. This is the first time I heard the hip-hop music with somebody rhyming off of a beat. This is the first time I heard it. You know what I mean? My man D Money in Queens next door to me, his grandmother lived next door. He was from Harlem, but he played the tape and I just fell in love with what I heard. So I went next door to Nana's house. I was raised by my grandparents and I wrote my first rhyme and I used the blueprint that Grandmaster Caz used for Yvette. I made up a story. His story might have been true. Mine was fake, but I used his blueprint. And, I started talking about this girl and all of this stuff and all of that. And it happened to make sense and all of that. And the first person I heard my rhyme was my Nana. And Nana said, "That's pretty good. I like that." She never heard hip hop before. I didn't know what I was doing. But she was my first co-sign and said it was nice. The next day I went out and all of the brothers that was on the steps listening to that same tape, my man Derek, my man Boo, my man Dave Moore, Johnnie Quest, I said the rhyme to them and everybody was like, "Yo, you got it. Yo, it's fresh. That rhyme is fresh, And then we made a little group after that, the Grandmaster 3. Think about it. Grandmaster Caz started me rapping, and my first group is the Grandmaster 3, So, yeah, that's how that went. Now, my first battle, I can't remember, because I used to run around and I used to just compare notes with everybody. But the most memorable battle, and the earliest one that I can remember that was of relevance and kind of pushed me into another level was in 231 Park. It was the junior high school that I used to go to. I had just graduated from the 8th grade, going into the 9th grade. And 231, they used to have these park jams. Like in the summertime when the school was closed, we had people like T Production, Bronx Style Al and them. They used to hook their music up to the electric box on the side of the school instead of the light post and all of that on the side of the school, you know what I mean? They knew how to sever the wires and hook it up and all that. So we used to rock in the park jams. And then one time I went there, I had just rocked the microphone the week before, the next week, like I'm from Merrick Boulevard. But 231 is on Springfield Boulevard and it's closer to Farmers Boulevard. And at that time, people from Merrick Boulevard and Farmers Boulevard, they really didn't get along like that. We got along when we were in the Park Jam together, but there was still a little animosity like, yeah, Farmers, we make the most noise, or nah, Merrick, LA, we make the most noise, or whatever. So Farmers Boulevard had a brother named TLC. He was the nicest dude from the Boulevard. And something transpired to where him and I had words against each other. And he called me out to battle. And this is the first time that I'm in a park with this many people and witnessing a battle. I'm used to just doing it in a cipher, maybe 5 or 6 brothers in a circle and we just rhyming. But here's a park jam with like hundreds of people in there and a brother just called me out on the microphone, loud for everybody to hear. So I couldn't back down, and sure enough, him and I battled and that's when Mikey Destruction was really born right there after that battle because it didn't go well for him, Much love to TLC because he's a part of my legacy, but he's the one that he's the one that sparked that fire inside of me to battle whoever, wherever. You know what I'm saying? And that was the most memorable joint, 231 Park.
Ooh, 231 Park. I felt like I was there while you was telling the story. Like,
yeah.
That's dope. That is so freaking dope. I bet he wish he never called you out because look at you now.
Yeah, that's facts, but he's actually pretty well off himself. You know what I mean? Shout out to TLC. We got through that. It took a couple of years. We was at each other's neck, but as adults, it's all love. It's all love. It's a part of growing up.
Definitely, definitely. You have like a lot of history with hip hop itself. And I know you had early run-ins with the young LL Cool J. What do you remember about those moments? And how did you put the LL and Cool J?
Yeah, that was just a suggestion that happened to work really well. L, that dude right there, man, yeah, James Todd Smith, he cool as hell. The first time, see, and I just remembered this recently because my man, Dr. Butcher, he's the one that had to remind me because when I was drinking and like people used to interview me, I made up some story about we met to battle and this, that, and other, which was far from the truth. I made that up. I don't know why I did that. Just call me the original clout chaser. I was chasing clout before the internet, you know what I mean? So what really happened is there was a talent show at the school in Queens called August Martin. August Martin, they had a talent show, and Dr. Butcher and his group was in the talent show. Me and my group was in the talent show, and Jay Ski, who was Todd, and his partner was in that talent show. We didn't know each other then. All I remember was the two dudes, Todd and his partner, they had these long, like trench coats that had like tiger print and a zebra print. They dressed like the rappers used to dress back in those days, like the Furious Five. All of those established artists used to wear costumes that was similar, but it wasn't regular street clothing, so they was rocking out like that. Of course, me and my group, we was rocking the regular street clothes, but we had the same things. We're looking like triplets, you know what I mean? And so I was Playboy Mikey D. I was rocking with Loverboy TC and Romantic Lover Snow. We were called the Money Making Three.
Wow.
I remember the dudes with the long trench coats. I remember we was kind of teasing the way they were dressed, but we were impressed by how nice they were on the microphone. So I give them that. So a couple of months later, my boy Dave Molicio told me that he had a homeboy that rapped and he wanted to meet me because he's super nice. So I remember telling Dave Molicio, tell him to meet me up at Roller Castle. Roller Castle was a roller skating rink where Flavor Flav used to be the host from Public Enemy. He used to be the host here. And It was right next, like I'm from Laureton, Elmont is right next door. And the roller skating rink was in Elmont. So anyway, come to find out, the brother that wanted my boy Dave Molicio, the brother that knows Dave Molicio, that was Mellow C. Mellow C was the dude from the doggone talent show that was rapping with LL Cool J that had the trench coats on. And the dude that wanted to meet me was a young LL Cool J.
Right.
So we meet at this place. Like, I didn't put two and two together. I had already forgotten about the talent show, you know what I mean? But they put us together, you know, and what we did was we compared notes. I had a bag of rhymes. He had a bag of rhymes, but we had rhymes memorized. He had rhymes memorized. We were just going back and forth, just bouncing off each other, you know what I mean? And I was impressed by the similar cadence that he had to mine and the similar energy, the similar growl. We were the same age. We basically had the same backgrounds. Like, you know, he's telling me that his grandparents is, you know, he lived with them and I'm living with my grandparents. And it's like, we both the same age, you know, and it was just crazy. So anyway, I was like, this is dope. Two of us is dope because I thought I was the only one because I was mad young and I was already outside early, you know, and I just figured for me and him to rock together, that'd be super dope. It's two of us. What? So he started coming around the way. Like I said, his name was Jay Ski. One day he came around the way and he was like, yo, Mike, I changed my name to Ladies Love Cool James. No, he said I changed my name from Jay Ski to Cool James. And I'm like, yo, that's dope. That's dope, but we got to get something. We got to get you a nickname, something for the girls, you know. Because like I said, I was Playboy Mikey D. You had Lover Boy TC, Manic Lover Snow, Ever Loving Kid Ice, Lovable Little B. Cool J was just Cool James. We got to get a name for him. So he's walking to the store and just fumbling around with names. And I said, Ladies Love. And he was like, what did you say? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, Ladies Love. He's like, yeah, Ladies Love Cool James, or whatever. And that's how the Ladies Love Cool J was born. Because when he went on to make records with Def Jam, they figured that the name was too long. Ladies Love Cool James. That's too much. It's not going to fit on the label, blah, blah. But he wanted to keep it. And he kept it. He just broke it down to LL Cool J. So like I said, it was a suggestion that worked really well. All I did was suggested it. He did all the work to make it a household name, man. Salute to L.
Wow, that's an incredible story. Salute to LL Cool J. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. Yep.
Okay, that's a nice story. I know that you competed in the new music seminar battle of world supremacy.
Oh
What was
yeah.
that experience like for you, especially like going up against other legends like Melly Mel?
Well, that was right up my alley. I was I was familiar with the new music seminar, but I would have never expected to be entered into the seminar. It actually was. I got blindsided by my entry into the new music seminar because what happened is, and I think I'm gonna blame Tila Rock for this one. Tila Rock and Mantronics, I'm blaming y'all for this one, all right? Because I just signed with Sleeping Bag Records, and Tila Rock played a major part in that. You know, letting them know this kid from Queens, he's nice, he likes to battle, and he got this energy, this street energy, and blah blah blah. You know, so. I'm on Sleeping Bag Records. We already got 2 singles ready to rock and roll, me, Posse, and Johnnie Quest. And they kept on telling Sleeping Bag how it would be a good idea, I guess, to put me in the seminar because I come from a battling background.
Yeah.
So what did they do? They surprised me by entering me into the new music seminar. And boy, I was like, that's crazy. Because just the year before, this is 1988, they entered me. Just the year before, 1987, I had a record out called I Get Rough. And I I said, I'm too good for practice, a winner at heart. I don't break this mic, I blow the stage apart when I'm on the mic. Quest is cutting. They don't call me Mikey D Structure for nothing. I earned my name. The fame came with it. If you want it, I got it, but you got to come get it. Can you get it? Forget it. No one here can deal with it. You should point your butt to a chair and sit it. 1987 and a star is born. Now it's time for me to break out. I got to move on. I am Imperial, pro material. No, that's not it. Anyway, something about I don't even have to practice for the seminar. Something like that. I said that in the rhyme, and this was the year before. And then I wound up winning it the next year. But, you know, the first day was the preliminary where you had to battle to be placed into the real event. So they had the preliminary. If you lost that, then you was disqualified. So they put me up against another brother from Queens, one of my friends. His name is Mr. X. Mr. X, they had a record out. He had a record out called "You Know I Drink Oh Gold." It was a parody of "You Know I Got Soul" from Eric B and Rakim. Anyway, so we had to battle. I battled him and I edged him. I'm not gonna say I beat him. I edged him. I got the edge over him, and then I was qualified for the next day's event, which was the big event. This is where you had to battle. I must have battled at least 13 MCs that day or something like that. Each MC had 2 rounds, and there was like 4 drum machines on the stage, and you got to pick whatever beats you wanted to rock off of, and you battling whoever's in front of you, and you advanced every time you won, you know what I'm saying? And whoever you beat, they were disqualified until you got to the last person, and then that was that. So I went through all of the prior battles and was going through it like just doing what I do. And the last person I had to battle before Melly Mel was a brother named Bango, who's down with the Rhyme Syndicate. Real dope. Shout out to Bango. And so I edged him, and now they presented me with a belt saying, "You're the champion this year. You got it." Now, the thing that happened with Melly Mel won the year before I won. When I won the belt in '88, me and Melly Mel wasn't supposed to battle. We were just supposed to rap together and collab on the stage together. But he wasn't having it. He didn't want to do that. He felt that the New Music Seminar, they dissed him. They didn't let him defend his title from the year before. He said that I wasn't a real champion because I didn't beat the champion and all of that. He said, if I'm a real champion, I would battle for the belt. And he threw his belt on the ground and said, the belt don't mean nothing, but it meant everything to me. You know what I mean? So I wasn't willing to battle for the belt because I just won this belt. And I'm thinking this is a freaking setup, unbelievable. You got Grandmaster Caz, the dude that inspired me to pick up a pen, with another legend and pioneer that I respected coming at me sideways, you know. So I'm kind of like, yo, this is unreal, you know. Nah, I'm not battling for this belt. I just won this belt. A real champion to battle for the belt, blah, blah. Yo, they was carrying on for real. So I'm like, yo, hold up, man. And I'm by myself. While Johnnie Quest was with me, normally I would have traveled with a whole crew, at least 20, 30 people, LA Posse, Boom Bash. But we was all partied out from the night before. So I was lucky enough, and Johnnie Quest was lucky enough to get up and get on the bus and train and go. But so we ain't have no crew. And so it just went left. The crowd really talked me into it. Like, yo, go Mikey, blah, blah. So I'm like, damn, I can't let the people down. I'm looking at Melly Mel carrying on. I'm looking at his belt on the floor. I'm looking at my belt, and I'm looking at Caz like, yo, F it. Boop, drop my belt on top of his. Whoa. Now it was time to go. First round, he says a rhyme that was more educational than battling. You know what I mean? It was a very mature lyrical rhyme. which is cool. I take nothing from him. But this is not the time or the place to be trying to preach and teach. This is the time to come out swinging. Put your dukes up, because I'm not going to fight you with a chalk and a blackboard. It's going to be the microphone is my weapon. You know what I mean? So I went at him. I went straight at him. Like, I wasn't going to try to go rhyme for rhyme and spit some intelligent, intellectual stuff when we battling. You just disrespected me in front of all these people. I am not going to just say a regular rhyme. I got to get you back. I got to be witty about it. And this is a battle. So I did what I did, and the crowd, they went crazy. And during my second verse, when I was rhyming, Melly Mel and Grandmaster Caz picked both of the belts up, and they started walking off the stage in mid-verse. Ooh. You know, I'm doing my thing, and they walking off the stage with the belts like he really won, but he didn't win. So the crowd was mad. The people at the New Music Seminar were very upset. Of course, I'm upset. Only thing I was left with was the buckle on the belt, the buckle. I needed the belt. I needed the gold part, all right? So he got away with the belt, and about 2 weeks later, Tim Silverman, who ran the seminar, they made me a brand new belt. So wow. I wound up getting a new belt. The belts, I had it hanging up in Poppin' Kim and all that. But yeah, Melly Mel, you still owe me a belt, bro. But I love you. I love you, man. Word up.
Oh my God, that's an incredible story. It kind of goes back to your bullying days. You know, they were trying to bully you for that belt, you know, so to speak, you know. Yeah. But, and you kept it real. You gave the crowd what they wanted, and you put on a good show like you always do, you know?
Yeah, I had no other choice. He pushed my back to the corner. I had no other choice but to come out fighting, because if I wouldn't have, the people wouldn't have let me live it down. And even then, after I beat him, people was ready to, you know, make moves and all of that. And I was like, nah, don't do nothing stupid, because if we do something stupid, that's going to reflect on me. Not that I cared about my music career and all of that. I'm talking about in general. Like, this is a pioneer and an icon, and I'm a new schooler. I'm on the come up. This is what I want to do. And these guys are the reasons that I'm able to do what I do. So at the same time, what he did was some cowardly stuff, but I had to respect him as the person that he was. You feel me? But I also defended my reputation, you know, but I just didn't want to see no bodily harm or anything, no harm done to him. It wasn't that serious.
Yeah. Just like the East Coast, West Coast beef type.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, I feel
and see, at that particular time, we were still going through the Queens versus the South Bronx, and you know what I mean, new school versus old school. Right. We was going through that, you know. So whatever, I held it down.
Okay. We probably gonna have to do a part 2. You down for that?
Anytime.
Oh no, when I say part 2, I mean like the same, like right after this.
Yeah.
Okay, because I have some more questions for you, but we only got 10 more minutes left. Maybe we can fit in one more question before we get to part 2. Is that cool?
Yeah, it's all on you. I'm here.
Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about the Poppin' Kim store, you know, because I know that played a major part in your journey and in the culture. So what made that spot so important to you, like growing up and everything?
That's because Poppin' Kim was in the center of Laureton, where I'm from, 229th Street and Merrick Boulevard. When I first started coming outside and like really breaking night and hanging out and you know, drinking with the fellas and doing big boy things as a youngster, Poppin' Kim was the place to be. You know, they had the coldest 40s on the planet. My man Reese Lover, God rest his soul, used to keep the 40 ounces inside of the ice cream freezers. So when you bought the 40s, they had ice in them. You popped them 40s and slush was coming out. Woo! And then they only costed $1.50. They started out at $1.35, but then they went up to $1.50. But all of all of the rappers from Queens that drank beer and at the time, they would pull up to Poppin' Kim's and you could see anybody at any given time. Run DMC, Fat Boys, you would see them up there buying cases of 40 and just going about their business. I even have a clip of Psycho Les from the Beat Nuts and DJ Muggs from Cypress Hill talking about Poppin' Kim when he came from Cali to go to Poppin' Kim, how cold those 40s were. So that played a major role in my upbringing as an MC because the more I drank, the more I would freestyle. Whoever was up there, they had to come through me or encounter me, not go through me, but they had to, we would bump heads. Either we was gonna battle or we was gonna compare notes or rock out in a cypher together. So that kind of got me in shape to do what I do. So it was only right to name the album Poppin' Kim because I couldn't bring back a 17-year-old Mikey D, but I could give you a 58-year-old Mikey D with a 17-year-old energy. And it all started at Poppin' Kim, so I wanted to bring that vibe back to 2026. And that's what Poppin' Kim is all about.
Nah, you definitely did that. And we're going to end it right there. Part 2, we're going to actually talk about Poppin' Kim, Legends Don't Die, okay?
All right.
I want to thank you so much, Chicago, for tuning in to part 2. We're going to come back, I promise you. Thank you, Mikey D, for part 1. And yeah, we'll stay tuned, y'all. Peace.
Yeah. What happened?
Gotta end the recording. Hold on.
Okay.